Welcome back to CWM University, where we learn together. And this is our series on 30 classroom management tips. And today we'll be going over tips 26 through 30. Tip 26 is belief in students. There's a quote I really like by Jay Comer that says, "No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship." And that's so true. Students really don't care what you have to say or what you're trying to teach them about until they know how much you actually care for them. Now, my first year teaching, I had a student. If you can go back and watch my first year teacher video, you will know who I'm talking about. But I like to refer to him as Amigo number 1. He liked to tear up my classroom. And I didn't understand why every day it was something. Something happened where I had to take him out in the hall, talk to him, or take some of his recess time, or call home. There was always something going on with Amigo number 1, and I couldn't figure it out for the longest. At that time, I was teaching math and science, and during the science time, he was fine. We didn't have any issues, or my majority of my day with him, because I had him half the day, was teaching math. Found out that he didn't like math. He hated math. And so I started to try to make it my mission to work with him one-on-one as much as I could. I mean, I had other students in the classroom, but if I got them set on an activity that they could work on, I could start trying to focus on one-on-one time with him as much as possible. And I just realized he was having like little small issues where he was really struggling with division. Being a first year teacher, I didn't know a lot of ways to teach division, but I knew that was where he struggled. So I went home and I went on YouTube and learned different ways to teach division, because I knew it would benefit him and all of my students that I was teaching at that time. I found different ways to teach division, and when I would work on with him one-on-one, tried to show him different ways to teach division until he understood it. So I just kept at it. Each day we probably would spend like 5 to 7 minutes with just me and him working on division. And then one day he was just like, "I got it. I understand it. I understand how to divide." And he was so excited about it. So was I, because I was like, "Really? You get it?" I was so excited for him. But that day, our relationship as a student to teacher turned. He no longer was trying to disrupt my class during math time, because he learned how to divide. One thing that was really troubling him, he learned how to divide. And I think that he realized how much time I was putting in with him to try to help him be successful. And when he understood how to divide it took him a lot longer than my other students. He worked at it hard, and that's the only thing he would focus on, is the finishing his division problems, because he understood it. So once he realized that I was believing in him and I did everything I could to make sure he was successful, his self-confidence grew in math. He started to raise his hand, answer questions in math. He wanted to work it out because he wanted everybody to know he now knows how to divide. I was proud. I believe he was proud that he knew how to do division. But I saw that his self-confidence raised in math, and no longer was he focused on disrupting class. He was focused on his work. Now, he knew I believed in him. He saw his self-confidence raised and his academics improved. Now, he wasn't making A's, but he came a long way from failing his math assessments to actually passing them. And that's what we want for our students. We want to make sure our students know that we believe in them, so we can help raise their confidence in whatever subject we're teaching and make them want to learn from us. And also, we will see that improvement come in their academics as well. Tip 27 is student accountability, holding our students accountable for their own learning. When we hold ourselves accountable for something and we have a goal that we want to reach, we find some way to track said goal. So as for students, we need to find some way to help them stay accountable for their learning, whether that's a journal, through a Google Sheet, something they can check off that they accomplished. Which I've tried before, is giving them a folder with the different objectives that we have to cover for that year. And every time that we completed objectives, they will put a check mark by it, or they could put like what they scored on the assessment for that objective, just to show that they're making progress on those objectives. But we need to find some way that the students feel that they are in control of their learning and that they're making progress as well. Once the students are set up for goal setting, it increases their engagement in their learning, especially the students who automatically have it set in their mind that there's a goal and they want to reach it. That works well for them. And the students who don't, like maybe they hate math or hate language arts or hate history, but we have that belief in them, and we show them that we believe that they are capable of reaching these objectives. We set them a goal, talk to them about said goal and then give them a way to show that they're making progress. Okay, I know that I want to make a 70 on this objective. I've been working on it really hard, and this is what I'm going to do to make that 70 or make the 80 or make the 90, whatever their goal is that they set for themselves. Also, when we hold students accountable for their learning, we're teaching them a life skill. For me, if I decide I want to walk 30 minutes a day, I like to use my Apple Watch. I would use my Apple Watch, set it for that goal, and I like to see the little ring go around because then I know I completed it and I can chart my progress as I go. So the same thing with students, if we teach them while they're young how to set a goal and to track their progress in their goal, it will help them as they get older. We're setting them up for success later on in their lives. Tip 28 is to have flexibility in your classroom. Now, there are times that you will be teaching a lesson and everything is going great, and then there's a fire drill. You have to go ahead and prepare your students to do what they're supposed to do during the fire drill, line up and get ready to exit the building just in case this fire drill that you had no idea about is actually a real fire. As a teacher, you're going to have to be flexible. There's always going to be things that comes up that you found out the day before or that day, but the way that you respond is going to be how your students respond. Think about it when you were a child and something bad was happening and maybe the adult in your life was freaking out. What were you doing? Probably freaking out. So take that into consideration when your schedule changes. How you behave during that time the schedule changes, how you behave during that fire drill is more than likely how your students are going to behave. If you're calm and collected during the fire drill, they remain calm. Not only would you have to stay flexible if you have different drills that you were not aware of, or different things you may have to attend during that school day that you were not aware of, you also need to keep in mind to stay flexible during your activity. If you're doing an activity and it is not working out well, just stop it. Stop. Just say, we're going to stop this, guys. And if you know why it's not working out well, fix it right then. Then the activity can go on correctly. Now, I have had times where I was doing an activity with my students and I was looking around and everybody looked confused. And I just said, stop. I didn't know why they were confused. They couldn't explain why they were confused. And I said, guys, we'll pick this back up tomorrow. So that was something I needed to reflect on at the end of the day to figure out what was wrong with that activity and or be flexible and find a different way to do that activity with my students. And you're not a failure when things do not work the way that you plan them to work. You just have to be flexible and pivot to something that may. Whatever the case may be to make it run smoothly, either make those adjustments then or put a bookmark in it and come back to it the following day. Keep in mind that when you're teaching, you have to be flexible as well. Sometimes there are misconceptions that we don't know as teachers that the students will have that we will have to explain and address and will take more time than we planned. So for example, if I knew I was going to do a whole group instruction for 10 minutes, I only had 10 minutes planned and I wanted to give the rest of the time to the students to do their independent practice. But then during that whole group, a lot of my students was just raising their hand. I don't understand this, or that part doesn't make sense to me. I need to stop right then and address those misconceptions. I didn't plan for that in my lesson, but these are the type of things that happen when you're paying attention to your students and how they're reacting to the things that you are saying or how they're answering back to the questions that you're asking. You will know that, okay, there's something that's not clicking. They're not understanding something. And it's better to address those misconceptions then and there than let them keep going with those misconceptions and have to fix it later. It's always good to collaborate with your colleagues or maybe people that you went to school with or people that you know that are teachers when you're trying to build a classroom management plan, figure out what's going wrong with your classroom management plan, or to bounce off ideas with someone that could possibly be helpful. Another thing you can do is ask your admin at the time, can you go into another teacher's classroom that's more experienced and see how they run their classrooms? I have found that very helpful because a lot of times we'll hear, oh, Miss W down the hall, she's a great teacher. We never have problems with the students in her class. I'm like, how is she a good teacher? What does she do to make her classroom run smoothly? Having the opportunity to go see Miss W, whatever your planning period is, and seeing what works efficiently in her classroom may help you adjust some things in your classroom to make it work better for you. So collaborating with other teachers is always a good idea. And it's okay if you don't have all the answers. Your first year teaching, you won't have all the answers. Your fifth year teaching, you won't have all the answers. But it's okay not to know something. But if you need help, ask for it. And finally, tip 30 is reflection. No matter what you do in life, you always need to make sure that you are reflecting on your decisions and seeing, is it helping you move forward. Now, it will be great if you could reflect every day after teaching, but I know they could not realistic, because maybe you have a tutor after school, and as soon as after school you have other obligations that you need to fulfill. But if you could reflect every day about what went well and what did not, that will help your process of improving your classroom management plan. And once you reflect on what went well and what did not, think about steps you can use so you can fix them moving forward, so you won't have those same issues in the future with your students in your classroom. Now, if you cannot reflect daily, at least try weekly. If not weekly, monthly, but do it consistently. Today, this is how I'm feeling. This is what did not go well, and this is what I want to fix moving forward. Because if you don't reflect on it, you will think about it, you will see it happening, but there will be no progress that's being made, especially when it comes to teaching students and having them feel comfortable enough and seen enough that they feel that they could be successful in whatever subject that you are teaching them. Now, if you have made it through tips 1 through 30, thank you so much for watching and tuning in each episode to see how to manage your classroom. Leave a star in the comment to let us know you've made it through all 30 tips. If you have any questions about tips 1 through 30, please feel free to reach out and let me know what you think, or maybe it's something that you didn't really understand but would like to use. Please let me know. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please like this video, share it with somebody. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it, and you already know. Until next time, peace out.